Boy, isn't that the truth? That's a foundation. You know, it's funny. I was thinking about as we were showing the video and talking about, laughing about money, money, money. I'm going, boy, I don't know if I was in a fundamentalist church, this would be pretty weird stuff. You know, they just don't talk about things like this. And so today we're going to kind of stretch a little bit and talk about money. People don't like to talk about money and church and God together. But guess what? It's all about just what he was talking about, love. You know, and that's what I'm going to kind of get into a little bit today. But I was reading, and I'm going to be using spiritual economics. There's a lot of good books out here on prosperity and abundance and love and money. And spiritual economics is an old classic. This is one way I think I got this old book. Remember this one? It's changed now. It's got a nice cover. This one was way back when we went to Unity Village and did our studies. We got this book, and you know, it's like, wow, you know, this is an interesting way to look about money, and it changed a lot of the ways that I saw how I did life. So my question to you is, what do you think people worry about most in the world? What makes people the happiest? And what makes people the most unhappy? Money, money, money. Isn't that the truth? It's about money, you know, money. If you have a relationship with nothing else in the whole universe, and you will have one with money. You'll have a relationship with money. You know, if you go through your day, you'll see how connected that we are to money. We're so intimately connected with either getting or spending money. You know, isn't that the truth? Everything that you do, even if you just sit home for a day, it's the electricity, it's the water, the bills. You know, you're spending money or you're getting it. You're sitting here, you know, we're getting it. You're giving it today. Not us, but common ground. You know what I'm saying? There's a that was not the right thing to say, was it? But what I'm saying is there's this cycle. You know, I mean, everything, you can't just sit there. There's this thing about money because it's this energy. You know, Eric Butterworth, who did spiritual economics, says that money holds so much power over us, but yet we don't want to talk about it. That we would rather talk about our sex lives than money. He was talking to me. I'd rather talk about money. But that's what he said, that we don't want to talk about it because there's something kind of weird about it, you know. And he says that we still have these kind of outdated ideas that money is the root of all evil, right? Because that's kind of the race mentality. And so we don't want to really, you know, go, yay, yay, money, you know, and but actually it's the love of money is what the actual saying is. But money is an enabling symbol, and that's what I kind of want to talk about today, that everything that we do, everything that we dream is affected by our relationship with money. So today we're kind of going to talk about this relationship with money is really about our relationship with life, and that it takes money to do everything in life. And I love this quote because it was one of Gandhi's followers says that it takes an awful lot of money to keep Gandhi in poverty. I mean, think about that, you know, and it did. And even Jesus' ministry, you know, was supported by money, you know, and that's what it takes, you know. It's just, and we don't want to talk about it. We don't want to talk about it all. But it is about our relationship with money. So what is money? What is it really? And Joseph Campbell says that it's congealed energy, right? That it's just this energy in solid form. It's just another form of life, right? That's what we are. We're just energy coming from the substance. And that's what money is. It's this energy. And he says that underlying, now here's what I really want to talk about today, because this is what touches my heart. You know, the money is the thing that's out there. But what touches my heart is the substance. And he talks about substance. That's an old word that they used. When we went through ministerial school, we were drilled about what is substance. And substance, it's the basic foundation of this whole prosperity consciousness. You know, and substance is a Latin word that was from substare, which means standing under. Standing under. So there is a substance standing under everything. So I think that's God. I think there's the power of love, what you talked about today. There is a power for good that stands, you know, underneath everything, that stands underneath us. And I want to talk about that. You know, that I think it's Emily Cady said that God is the good itself. And it comes into expression through our wisdom, through our love, through power. And there is this force that holds the whole world together. There's a force that holds you and me together. And it's this energy of love. And this gets a little bit technical, but it always makes me go, wow, I can't believe this, because it makes me think differently about God. See, you know it sounds like, I'll read this paragraph, it sounds a little technical, like, science and stuff, but I'm going to tell you why it sounds like God to me. And when I first went to, I was way before ministerial school, this was when I was like, 20 years old, and I can remember, reading this kind of stuff, because believe me, it's been talked about for, since the beginning of time. But it always made me just stop for a minute and say, is this who we are? Is this who God is? And here's what Butterworth says. He says, today we know much about molecules and atoms and subatomic particles, but what is not commonly known is that the focus of research is now being centered not on the minute particles of the material, but on what is called the reality of non-material. This space between them is now considered more important than the particles themselves. So think about this. This is the space, this empty space that we see, that's what they're studying, and it's more important than the particles, the material. In this space is to be found a field of force that holds all these particles together in their orbit. It is even being conjectured that the particle is not just acted upon by the force, but it is the force acting on the particle. That means the air, the emptiness, acts on the force. Certainly this has application in our relation to God. We are not just acted upon by God, but we are the activity of God expressing on us. See, what this means is that we are the activity of God. We are this field of love that is held together, and God expresses as us. See, I used to think God out there, and it changed my whole view of what God is, what substance is, what everything is. And this talk is about our relationship with all of life, right? And money's just one part of it. But this field that we live in, it's this field that we live and move and have our being. It's where we live, it's who we are. It's this substance, this energy that is manifested out as each and every one of us. It's manifested out as a podium, as this beautiful flower. And we're the intelligence behind it. We're a part of God expressing. We're limitless. We have this unborn creativity potential inside of us. Every single one of us. So when we say we're limited and we're lacking, we're not. We just got to get it. We just got to get that we have this potential inside of us, this creative potential that is so powerful, that we are the activity of something so big. When I say that I look up, I get tingles. I look up. I don't know why, because I'm used to, as a little kid, looking up to God. But I can look right at you and do the same thing, because you're God expressing. Does that make sense? That's the power of this. There is no limitation. There is only consciousness that is limited, right? And our whole job is to open up our consciousness and to let it flow through us. So our prayer, so I've heard so much, and I used to do it too, please God, help. Help me, I need money, I need to pay this bill. That's not what it's about. It's about recognizing that we already have it. It's about changing your consciousness, not just your bank balance. It's about knowing. It's about our relationship with money, with life, with everything, with each other. It's about, we walk in this world, we talk about it all the time, our humanity and our divinity. There's two parts, It's we're of the world and we're in the world, and not in the world. And I think in the Gospel of Thomas, when he said, Jesus said, when we make the two one. And that's what he was talking about. When we make the two one, when we make our humanity and our divinity and bring it together, our consciousness shifts and we walk in divine. We walk in the divine. We walk with God. And that right there, is the substance that he's talking about. That's the substance every one of us has. And it's like we're sacred. Each one of us are so sacred. We laugh and we're talking about money and we're doing all this stuff. And, that's our humanity. Our humanity is getting together, having fun, but our job is to bring the sacred, the God stuff, the substance to our humanity and make it one. Walk with God. When we say walk with God, we walk in relationship, it sounds like two, but it's not. We're connected so closely. God is the substance. God is the substance, and it's all we ever really need. God is a process of life. God's not a him or a her. It's not a it. It sounds so impersonal, doesn't it? But it's the process and the love of life. It's the energy within each and every one of us. Ralph Waldo Emerson, I love him, and he said that, when we stop thinking about God as the intellect, and we start, thinking about what is God and stuff, that God will fire you with its presence. And I love that, because that's true. Have you ever been fired with God's presence? Have you ever just been sitting and centering and praying, or whatever you do to feel filled, and to felt your whole body just tingle with light and love? Because that's what we're talking about here. And that's what we are. We are fired with the presence of God. When we are centered in this creative flow, there isn't anything we can't do. There isn't any place we can't go. We are centered in the divine flow of creative love, you know? So how do we get there, you know? And the truth is, there's one word that is so important, probably the most important word that you can never, you know, talk about in a subject with money and with life and with, you know, prosperity, and that's faith. Faith. What is faith, you know? See, and what Letterworth says is that we have the spiritual capacity to shape the substance. And that's faith. By knowing it. By knowing who we are. When we know who we are, we can shape the substance into what is needed in our life. And he says that creative ideas and opportunities come into form when we need it. When we are centered in this place of the process of God. And I know that's true, because I know what time, I'm thinking of, we've been so blessed. Man, I'll tell you, 10 years, we've been so blessed at Common Ground. Have we always had money flowing and extra money? No. But we've been so blessed and so grateful. And when we didn't have money to pay the rent, right, there was times when it was pretty tough before we moved here. And what happened is, I can remember, I was thinking about this when we were talking, Judy, you remember this, what I'm going to say probably? And it's kind of like what Myrtle Fillmore said too. And I'm going, oh, you know, I hope this money holds out. I hope we can pay this next rent. And Judy said, well, you remember what Myrtle Fillmore said. She said, don't worry about the money, worry about the faith, right? Having the faith. That she said, someone said, I hope the money holds out. And she said, you shouldn't say that. You should say, I hope the faith holds out. And that's what we're talking about. The faith is what creates the money, right? And so I can remember when we were, you know, waiting for that, you know, let's hope we can make this next rent. And we started to think about, go into prayer, and we said, you know, what is it? Let's talk about this. Let's talk about prosperity. What is this about? And together, we said, you know what? It's about the next great idea. That's what it's about. It's not about another rent coming in, right? Because that's just one more month, and then you go to the next month, you worry about the next month. You know, a little money doesn't help, right? A little money will get you through next month. The faith or the creative ideas and the creative flow is what helps. And so at that moment, we said, okay, let's go into some prayer. Let's let the downloads come, and they came, and the creative ideas came, and the whole thing started to flow. I think we had a visioning meeting, and I think somebody came up with the idea, let's do Green Lady. You know, they didn't say Green Lady. They said, hey, why don't you have a yard sale? Or, you know, take your yard sale stuff and put it in a room over here. So birth the Green Lady. What an idea. One idea. What an abundant idea. That pays part of our rent. You know what I'm saying? Ideas. It's about ideas. And I love that. It's about creativity, opportunities, and ideas. It's not about just getting more money. That isn't going to help. You know, money comes afterwards. It's that. And that's what's exciting, is that we have the capacity. This God thing is inside of us, right? We're that. And we have the capacity to open up and let it flow through us, come up with ideas of how to do next, right? I mean, it's pretty exciting. You know, it's not, oh, please, God, I need more money to pay the rent. It's not about that. It's, I am abundant. I am creative. I am filled with this light of God. I can do anything in life. And it works. I swear to God, it works. If you're feeling a lack of limitation, the answer is to center yourself in consciousness and watch yourself. Just watch. You know, life change. I believe that with all my heart. So that's the definition of faith, is to just, you know, what did, I think I wrote it down. I bet you have it in your talk. But it's about the assurance of things. Did you write that down? Okay. Okay, because it's so good. It's about hope, and it's about assurance, and it's about knowing. It's just about knowing. It's not about doubting what's going on in life. It's about the assurance of things hoped for. You just know it. You're not hoping. You're not hoping. I hope I pay the rent. You know. I hope I can do this. You know. You kind of have. Sometimes you go through that, and you have to let it go, and you have to center yourself in something so big. You know, William James said there is one cause of human failure, and it is the lack of faith in your true self. What is your true self? But the power of the universe, the power of love running through you. That's what abundance is. Abundance is you. That's my prayer for each of us, that we have this faith in us, that we have the faith to live this prosperous, abundant life that is filled with so much joy, so much love, so much wisdom and intelligence, so many friends. So, you know, that's what abundance is about. That's what prosperity is about. It's about love. It's about knowing. It's about faith. Thank you.